Hi, I'm Valerie Reddell with the Tyler County Booster, and we're going to visit with State Representative James White to help provide information on the DSNAP program for folks in the area impacted by Hurricane Harvey.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me again, and I just want to thank the Tyler County Booster for all you're doing to keep people informed. There are a lot of moving parts here. See, you have it on the front page of the paper today. And to help people in the Army, we always say if you're a better fighting soldier is a better informed soldier. So,
all right.
So all our people are soldiers,
right,
in something,
right.
And so we want to make sure they're well informed.
And this particular program is designed to help folks replace food. Maybe they lost an entire freezer full of produce and that deer they shot last year.
Yes.
And they need some assistance to kind of rebuild the larder.
Right. And as you well know, SNAP, it stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, right? Okay. And
it used to be called food stamps.
Used to be called food stamps, okay. And then when you put the D dash in front of it, DSNAP, it's Disaster Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And so a few weeks ago, our citizens that are already on SNAP, they were taken care of. We added a little bit to their accounts, to their cards, so they're taken care of. So now we have other citizens that are not on SNAP, and just like you said, Valerie, in some instances they evacuated, power went out, house flooded, damage to refrigerator goes out. Foodstuffs, dry foodstuffs, canned goods are no longer good anymore, so they need to replenish, okay? And then just think of all the other costs you have now.
Right.
You know, you're trying to get people to come out and clean your house out. You're trying to you got to get the kids school clothes again.
Right.
You know, you got to start all over again. So this is to help those individuals. So DSNAP. Now, it's important for folks to understand this. All of our counties in our area, particularly the ones in my district, Polk, Tyler, Jasper, Newton, and Hardin counties, they have been approved by the president as presidentially declared disaster areas. Okay,
right.
If you're a presidential declared disaster area, that could possibly put you in the position for your county to be recognized for DSNAP. Doesn't mean it has. Right. But it definitely qualifies for it. So,
because this is kind of a slow rollout where they're ramping up and don't do everybody at one time.
Yes. And here's another thing. We're doing something a little different than what people think we always do. We're listening to local officials. Yeah, we're listening to local officials. Yes, we
Thank you.
Yeah, we do that more than you think. And so, in many instances, in many of these communities, even in my district, there's still standing water. Citizens have still evacuated hundreds of miles away. Law enforcement, first responders, county leadership may not want those folks going back in those areas for safety and security reasons. So when the counties are ready, then they notify the governor and Commissioner Charles Smith at Health and Human Services and say, we're ready now to be a DSNAP county. Right. And understand this, I don't think very many of my counties are in this situation. There are some counties that have been hurt by this disaster. Even if you gave folks $1 million on a Lone Star card, the stores are not restocked yet.
Right.
So it would be a waste of time, so to speak. So when that local official, that local county judge and the emergency folks say, hey, Governor, Commissioner Charles Smith of HHSC, we're ready for DSNAP.
Right.
Then that's when they set up a place for us to bring the caseworkers in and to help folks. And also to say this also, the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, they are the federal agency that does this program.
Right.
The state and the local governments, we implement it. So we're doing it for the feds, for our people that
But this is all the money you gave them off your income taxes.
Well, you can say, yeah, I like that. You give it with one hand and set with another one. So it's a USDA program. And the USDA has guidelines. You have to have a restroom in this place where you sign up for the DSNAP. You have to have an adequate amount of parking space, right?
Right.
And then local officials want to make sure we're not creating a worse situation than we have now after the storm. So you don't want everybody rushing at one time. You have long lines out. People are falling out in heat exhaustion. So we want to make sure that we don't put any more stress on our system than it already has by Hurricane Harvey. So let's talk about our home county, Tyler.
All right.
Tyler County. Okay, has been approved for DSNAP. County Judge Blanchett has informed his state partners that they're ready.
Right.
So from the 13th to the 19th.
Yeah, it started today. We're taping this on Tuesday.
Yes.
So it started today. If you're at the front end of the alphabet, if you're not like you and I at the tail end.
And let me talk about that a little bit, and we can go through the schedule. But I talked with Commissioner Smith this morning, and while we're saying A through C, I have it here on my iPad. When I first went to the legislature, I didn't need eyeglasses. Now, after reading all these bills, some good, some bad, I need it now, right? So on the 13th, today, it was A through C. Tomorrow, the 14th, is D through H. Commissioner Smith and I talked about that, and he said, look, we're not trying to over micromanage if such a situation exists. We just didn't want everybody showing up at the same time and creating a situation that we couldn't handle. Tomorrow, if your last name begins with W and it's D through H tomorrow, and you're passing by the SNAP office, it looks like you can get in and get signed up, it's okay. So it's pretty much okay any day, okay? We just want to make sure that we're being as orderly as possible. So for example, for Tyler County, if you're a resident of Tyler County, right now, this is the way it's running. So you got to follow instructions. I hate to say that. I hate to put my school teacher
put your
infantry officer
glasses on.
Get back on. But it's important that we just follow these instructions. We're tweaking it as we go along. But if you're from Tyler County, a resident, you can only sign up in Tyler County.
Right.
If you're passing by the SNAP office in Jasper, it may be convenient, it may be common sense, it probably is, but we are in a government operation, okay?
Right.
We have to do it this way. Okay, so if you're in Tyler County, we need you to go to 930 Northwest Magnolia, and I think you said that was near the...
It's if you are heading north
to Colemanel.
Headed towards Colemanel on 69, you're going to pass up the sheriff's office.
Yes.
And on the right across from the Calvary Church, there is a Health and Human Services office there in a little strip center. So that's where we're going to go if you live in Tyler County.
Or just before you get to the sheriff's office, right? Yeah.
If you're on the north end.
North end. Okay, right.
But coming from here on our office, because we're on 190, if you're headed north towards Lufkin, it's going to be on your right, past the sheriff's office.
Okay, so over there. And so that's very important. 930 North Magnolia in Woodville. And it does say people will need to apply on certain days. Again, today is A through C. And this is what I like about this also. We're listening to county officials, we're listening to local officials. The time of the day is from 8 in the morning to 7 p.m. at night.
Good deal.
And even they will keep those hours on weekends as well.
Okay.
So today on the 13th, you're seeing you're A through C. If your last name begins with A through C, today was your day. But look, if you've missed this today, no big deal. You can go tomorrow. And then on September 18th and 19th, it's anyone.
Right.
Okay. So today, A through C. Tomorrow, the 14th, D through H. September the 15th, I through M. September the 16th, N through R. September the 17th, S through Z. And then on the 18th and 19th, anyone.
Right.
Okay. However, if it's just convenient for you,
and there's not a line,
you can stop in.
If you drive by the office, it doesn't look like they're giving away George Strait tickets.
Yes, you can stop in. Right.
And
but you can only do it in Tyler County if you're a Tyler County resident.
Right.
Okay.
And there are some income restrictions, right?
Yes, there are some income restrictions. And I kind of noticed that people kind of know if they are...
but basically, if you live alone in a home and you make bring home about $1,600 a month, you will qualify for DSNAP.
Yes.
And then you can add about $300 per person.
Per person, right.
In your household. That gives you a rough ballpark for where you are. If that went by too fast and you are comfortable on the internet, surf on over to our site and you can see
and the same as myself, we've been posting a lot of this on the Facebook and social media, and they can always call the office at 409-283-3700, and at 409-283-3700 anyone should be able to kind of lead you in that direction.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, good deal. And now that takes care of food. What about our folks who are not internet savvy, who need help fixing that roof? Or
Okay,
some other
so now you're getting into those FEMA issues.
Right.
Okay.
Everybody's
FEMA.
loving on FEMA.
Yes. Kind of interesting how all of a sudden we start making up and playing nice with the federal government, huh?
Yeah. You know.
I love the federal government when it's doing what it's supposed to do. Okay.
You once worked for the federal government, so you...
Yeah, I was doing what we expect the federal government to do, fight wars.
Right.
That are approved by Congress, hopefully. Okay.
Always helps.
Okay, but look, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, disasterassistance.gov. It's important to access any of these federal resources to start with disasterassistance.gov. Today I had the opportunity to sit down and talk with a lot of our school superintendents in our district and impressed upon them to stress everyone, disasterassistance.gov, because when I'm finding out weeks and months after, when we're in the nuts and bolts of this rebuilding phase, a lot of these other government agencies, when they come in with support and resources, they usually use a lot or all of the FEMA data that we give them, individuals and governments. So it's important that we get as many people as possible to sign up.
So even if, like my brother-in-law has 3 refrigerators, and when the lights went out for a day and a half, he lost a lot of
deer,
perishable items.
Yeah.
So even though he has no intention of accepting assistance, please go online.
Yes.
And enter. It takes maybe 5 minutes if you're a slow reader.
Well, I don't know about all that. It is a government operation, so in some instances I've heard maybe 15, maybe up to an hour, hour and a half. But here's another thing to think about. On another, I think it was Beaumont Enterprise. I was reading the Beaumont. I read that newspaper too. Okay.
Just read a newspaper.
Okay,
right?
I read all of them.
Good.
And they had a sort of a running count, county by county in Southeast Texas, people that have registered on FEMA and the amount of money that has already been identified. And my gut is that was kind of low, some of the numbers. And I understand some stuff is still underwater. FEMA still needs to hire up people to get out and do these assessments. And here's another thing, folks. I'm getting a lot of calls where people will say, well, FEMA was here and I didn't tell anybody and just left.
Right. That was a survey team.
Right. That was a survey team. They may knock on a door or two for validity, but they're not really the team that's coming in saying, knock, knock, knock. Okay, Miss Valerie, your case number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You said you had this wrong, and they go, that's not really that person. Some of these communities in my district are totally devastated. Right. So they go through and they can already say, look, when this person calls from this county in this zip code, do not waste a lot of time asking them a lot of questions. Just say, thank you for calling. They check that you're 100% damaged. So that's one thing. Here's another good point. Some people are calling and saying, FEMA has denied me.
Right.
And I've talked with my FEMA partners. They said, well, we don't think we've used the word denied. We say ineligible. Because I have a situation where in one instance, FEMA will tell someone, yes, we believe your house has been damaged. And then they'll get a letter a few days later saying, you are ineligible. Okay, that could be for a number of reasons. It could mean that long government form, you know how government paperwork is. Maybe you forgot to sign something. Maybe you forgot to check a box.
Right.
Something like that. So we just got to ask you to get back into your application, call up FEMA, call up Congressman Babin's office, call my office, so we can get you in the right procedure. Sometimes you may have to appeal. Okay, but ineligible, there is a difference in government speak between being ineligible and being denied.
Right.
And that word denied really hasn't been floated yet.
Right, because
at this stage.
We're not far enough into the process to be denying people.
Believe it or not, we're not. It has seemed, I'll tell you this, Valerie, this reminds me of being back in a combat situation. I mean, every day it's something different.
Right.
There's a different challenge out there that we have to tackle. It's just like being on the ground, or it's just like being in football coaching. I mean, every play is a new play, and it's a different situation, down and distance. So if folks remember, back to Ike, back to some of these, there were weeks and months before we closed the deal individually with FEMA. So, but now that doesn't mean we're going to allow FEMA to drag stuff out and take people through a lot of bureaucracy. When we see that, we want to fight for you.
Or it's kind of like if you were a MASH fan, you go through triage. That right now we're dealing with the folks who it's life or death, or they have no roof over their house. And so far that is all that's been addressed.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. If you remember, I mean, it was just last week you and I were talking, and we were still getting people
wearing rubber boots a good bit of the time.
Yes, and in many instances, we still have homes, areas of Southeast Texas that are still underwater. So even if we did send FEMA adjusters out there, they couldn't get a full evaluation of all the damage and hurt that you've experienced, because we can't see it yet. So it's a lot of moving parts here, but we're going to help people get through it. But to your immediate question, disasterassistance.gov is the gateway. And then, there's a series of steps that go along. I think eventually more of our counties will get these DRCs, Disaster Recovery Centers, where they'll have the Texas Workforce Commission in there. They'll have FEMA in there. They'll have the Small Business Administration in there. They'll have HHSC in there with, SNAP, DSNAP, and all of that, okay? So when those get up, then people will not only be able to call FEMA or go online, they'll be able to go in and see someone in person. Also, as we get further into this process, I think you will see FEMA, mobilize a lot of their remote mobile units that can get around. There probably is not as extensive as a stationary DRC, okay, but they can do some things. Also, talking with the governor throughout this disaster area from Corpus to Sabine Pass, from the Sabine River back to the Brazos, there will be a number of not necessarily disaster recovery centers, but Texas disaster management offices as well, for local officials, government officials to kind of, combine resources and talk about things. So I'm gonna tell you, the governor has really ramped up the state on this effort, and there's just a lot of moving pieces here.
Okay. So, on your website, there's what I've been jokingly calling Representative White's to-do list. If you need all kinds of faith-based and volunteer organizations that can help, if folks need a tarp on their roof or something like that.
That's something that I've heard recently about the blue tarps. And so we'll be getting on the horn and see how we can get those. It will rain again. Right. Hopefully not 52 inches in a day. Right. But some people, their roof is still damaged. Right. And to prevent any further damage, they need to have that tarp, because if you're not still doing the necessary things to make sure there's no further damage, that could put us in jeopardy of getting the type of support you need from FEMA, because FEMA would say, well, you knew there was a hole in the roof, you should have covered it up. Okay, so instead of giving you this, well, we're going to give you this, because this other damage came after. came after based on negligence of the person. So we want to make sure we get those blue tarps out there.
Okay. Well, give us your district office number one more time.
Yes, 409-283-3700.
All right.
409-283-3700.
And if you need any of a rewind on any of this, it's going to be on our YouTube site for a while, or you can give us a call at 409-283-2516.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.